Welcome to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Recapping last night's slate, 4 games, very short slate. I hope you really didn't play too heavily, and if you did play heavily, I hope you hit big. First thing we're going to do is jump into our feature 4 players. Then we're going to move into a quick recap of last night's games. We're going to go over some player pricing, and we're going to look at some point totals for tonight's 13-game monster slate. Now, I know I said 13 games. That is a ton of games. It can definitely be overwhelming, but that's what I'm here for, to guide you through the point totals, get you a nice player pool in your head, so tomorrow you can sit down with a cup of coffee, and develop your core 4 plays. Now, normally, first thing I would do would be go over my core 4 review, where I talk about the guys that I had in most of my lineups. But on a short slate like it was last night, I don't release a core 4. I feel like that is irresponsible, because on a short slate like that, I don't play individual plays. I just stack teams and hope the chips fall right in my favor. They kind of did tonight. I didn't lose much, didn't win much. I cashed in a couple, didn't cash in a couple, broke even pretty much. So it was a decent night in the sweatshop, I guess. Got to see some great games, and I'm with my family right now. So let's go ahead and jump into the feature 4 players, starting with the who dat scoring all them points over there player of the night. It is none other than Jamal Murray, at 7.6% owned in most GPPs and at 3.5K in salary. We saw Jamal Murray go out and score 36 points. That is 10x value. That is awesome. Great play if you played him. The how did I miss that play tonight? That's the guy who we knew he was in a good spot. We should have had him in more rosters. Maybe we had him in 1 or 2, or maybe we wouldn't even have him at all. But we should have had Ed Davis everywhere. Dude went out and balled, man. 4.5% owned, 31.5 DraftKings points for 10x value. Very good game from Ed Davis. The next guy is going to be the heat check player tonight. Could have been for me the how did I miss that play tonight. I didn't have him anywhere. Tim Frazier, man, he went the fuck off. Had an excellent game at 14.5% owned, 5.1K in salary. He had 56.75 DraftKings points and hit that 10x value. Very nice game from Tim Frazier. The heat check play tonight is going to go to Russell Westbrook. Very good game from Russell Westbrook. 67 DraftKings points. He was the highest owned player on the slate at 45% owned. Very great game from him. Now, tonight's motherfucker, the one motherfucker, we ain't even gonna spend too much time talking about his sorry snowflake ass, because while Gucci Man was winning, proposing on the sideline, your snowflake ass was scoring 1 point, getting 1 rebound, and 1 assist with 2 turnovers. How do you get 1 rebound, 1 point, 1 assist, and 2 turnovers with your snowflake ass? Kent Bazemore, you're done. You're dead to me. I will never roster you again under any circumstances. I don't give a fuck. It's over. You're done. Kent Bazemore, there's the door. It's over. Rant complete. Now, let us go ahead and jump into a very quick recap of last night's games. I do not want to spend too much time on them, because we have the 13-game slate that we're going to be breaking down game by game. Just going to talk about who played well. On the New York Knicks side, this is the Knicks at home against the Portland Trailblazers. The only guy that really had a dope, awesome game was Porzingis, man. In 39 minutes, he had 31 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist. We saw a pretty good game from D Rose, 18 and 4, with 5 assists and 2 steals to go with the block. And Carmelo Anthony, 17 points, 6 rebounds, and a steal in the block. Not a very good game from Melo. On the Portland side, CJ McCollum evaporated. He had 16 points in the first quarter, and he finished with 29 points. What the fuck, CJ? That was crazy. I didn't understand that. Dame Lillard, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Of course, Ed Davis, who's the how did I miss that play tonight, went out and had 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 33 minutes. Pretty good game from him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Atlanta Hawks, who were all snowflakes. This complete entire team sucked. Nobody is really worth talking about, so we're going to go ahead and jump onto the New Orleans Pelicans side of the ball. Anthony Davis finally had that game when he left, but he did come back. I've never seen him do that. Most times he leaves, he doesn't come back. He came back, so he might be good to go tomorrow. We're going to check, see what's happening with that. Tim Frazier, we talked about him, had a really good game, balled the fuck out. Terrence Jones, 17 and 6 with a steal, an assist, and a block. Pretty good game from him. Etuan Moore had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Denver Nuggets at home against the Chicago Bulls. Very entertaining game. The stupidest thing I've ever seen was when you have Jimmy Butler, who scored 35 points. You have Rajon Rondo, who all he can do is drive to the basket, had a very good game from him. And then you got probably one of the best players ever on the drive in the league in Dwayne Wade. Why the fuck, with 5 seconds left, why would you run a curl screen to Isaiah Cannon, a guy who has been shooting 1 for 5 for the entire game and only played 17 minutes, was cold as ice, was a snowflake sitting on the bench? Why the fuck would you call him off the bench to have him hoist up a 3 to win a game when Jimmy Butler could have tied it for you? You could have won the overtime, and the DFS sweatshop would have loved you. Fred Hoiberg, you're an idiot. You should have won the Snowflake of the Night award. Next game, let's go ahead and jump into tomorrow's point totals. We should go ahead and do a little player pricing. I'm going to pull it up just for the sake of rolling through. I want to put up the player pricing just so we can get a good idea of what we can look forward to tomorrow. And I like to do this to look at the player pricing so I can kind of like develop a player pool in my head, names that I know, that I recognize. And I don't want too many names, because the goal to all of this is streamlining our lineups, not being all over the place. And so, of course, we know. Let's go to all so we can get everybody in there. We knew this coming in, that we're going to see Russell Westbrook with the highest ownership. The highest price on the slate, 12.3K. That's just something that I'm not willing to do. I'm not willing to pay that much for Russell Westbrook. I just can't do it. That's too expensive for me. That's too expensive for me. At 12.3K, that's just something I'm not going to do. James Harden, same boat. 11.7, no. Anthony Davis, he's questionable. We might not see him in tomorrow's games. If we don't, we know we can go to Terrence Jones and also stack up on the New Orleans players. DeMarcus Cousins is the fairest price of the top 5 players priced to me. Westbrook, Harden, Davis, Cousins, and Durant. I think that DeMarcus Cousins is the fairest price at 9.9K, and he can definitely serve as a late night hammer. And I don't mean late night hammer just because, oh man, I want to wait just so I can have somebody in the late games. No, I mean, a lot of people, they love to see their points immediately. They want to see 300. They want to get 300 by 9 o'clock. So a lot of these players in the late games, they go under-owned just because people want to see their points now. So when we say late game hammer, it's not just so you have somebody in the late game. There's a strategy involved in that. And if Sacramento played earlier in earlier games, there's a good chance that DeMarcus Cousins will be more highly owned. But the fact that people like to see their points right now is going to make DeMarcus Cousins go just enough under-owned to where if we get him, he can definitely help us out. And that is what is a real late night hammer. That's what makes a real late night hammer. When people don't roster him because they play in the late games. It happens all the time with Chris Paul. It happens all the time. All right. So LeBron James at 9.5K, he is fairly priced. I think I can see some LeBron James tomorrow. We got Steph Curry at 8.9K, not a bad price for him. DeMar DeRozan 8.7, that is too much for me, even against the Houston Rockets. Chris Paul at 8.5K. Anytime he's under 9K, I don't care if it's a blowout or not, I like Chris Paul. Karl Anthony Towns, if your boy is out, if Anthony Davis is out, I love Towns and Gorgie Jang tomorrow too. Kawhi Leonard at 8.2K going to Charlotte. I like him tomorrow. Isaiah Thomas at 8K flat going to Brooklyn. I like him tomorrow. Draymond Green, nah. Paul Millsap, yes, I like Paul Millsap tomorrow. Kevin Love, yes, I like him tomorrow. Kimba, I don't care what you say, I like Kimba tomorrow. He's at home. The ownership's going to be low. He's going to see Patty Mills. And I know he's going to see the overall team defense of San Antonio, but Patty Mills will be on him, or Tony Parker. He'll run circles around them. I like Kimba tomorrow, even if nobody else does. Kyrie Irving, I like him against Dame tomorrow. I think they're going to battle it out. I can definitely see both of them having good games. Him and Dame Lillard. What's the price on Dame? 8.6. That's a fair price for Dame Lillard. I like him. I like him tomorrow. We've got Andre Drummond at 7.5K going up against Whiteside. That's pretty cheap. But we need 60 rebounds in this game in order for Drummond to get his, because we know Whiteside's going to get his too. So I don't know how I feel about Andre Drummond. Gordon Hayward against Denver. I like that. I do like that. Eric Bledsoe against Orlando. I kind of like that too. Julius Randle, he might not play. He sat out damn near the second half tonight. Rudy Gay, I love Rudy Gay tomorrow. And you know when I say that, there's a very good chance that when the core 4 drops, I like him. I like the stack. I like Rudy Gay, and I like Cousins tomorrow. Mike Conley is my favorite play on the slate already. At 6.9K going to Philadelphia. That's a really good price on him. Brook Lopez, seeing that Boston front court, I like that. The rebound a lot. Drew Holiday, I don't like that very much. Could be a good play though. Vic Oladipo at 6.6K looks really a nice play. And there's going to be a ton of great plays because it's 13 games. That's why we have to narrow our focus, narrow our view, so we can streamline the lineups, develop our core 4, and rock hard with our core. Goran Dragic against Detroit, that might be a really good play, but a fairly good play. Not a really good play, but a fairly good play. LaMarcus Aldridge, I like him against Charlotte, especially if we don't see Cody Zeller. Klay Thompson at 6.2 is pretty good. Denver, Phoenix at Orlando. We got Devin Booker at 6.2K. That might be nice. Nicholas Batum, I do not like him at all. Gorgie Jang, I like him if Anthony Davis is out. Paul Gasol, I like him. Clint Capella, I like him. I do not like Joel Embiid very much tomorrow. Elfrid Payton, that's a nice play, I think, at 5.9K for Elfrid Payton against the Phoenix backcourt defense. I like that. We got Serge Ibaka at 5.9. I'm not high on him. Tobias Harris, he owes me money. Nikolai Vucevic. I mean, I could go either way. Against Alex Len, I think Vucevic can get off against Alex Len. Jonas Valanciunas against Capella. Capella bites on every head fake. He's just a pure athletic freak. You gotta watch Clint Capella, and he bites on every. I mean, one up fake, and Clint Capella will jump out the fucking gym. And I think Jonas Valanciunas is gonna have a really good game tomorrow against him. I just can see that happening. Rodney Hood against Denver. That's a pretty good play, I think. Thad Young, no. Kent Bazemore, you are dead to me. Zach LaVine, 5.7K. That's very reasonable. Dennis Schroeder's at a really good price at 5.6 against Indiana. That's a really good price on him. Ricky Rubio at 5.6. I don't want any of that. Evan Fournier, I like him at 5.5. Mason Plumlee, 5.5. That's a good play for him. Wilson Chandler, 5.5 against Utah. The pace is so slow. I don't like him against Utah. I don't like Kenneth Faried either. Trevor Ariza could be a good play against the Toronto Raptors. Collison, that is spelling stack, game stack, or team stack to me. With Darren Collison, Rudy Gay, and Boogie. I kind of like that already. Preliminarily. Is that a word? Good word. Trevor Booker at 5.3K. I love that because Boston sucks rebounding. Trevor Booker is a really nice rebounder. I like Trevor Booker tomorrow. Jordan Clarkson coming off of the bench. I don't want any of that coming off the bench. Monte Ellis at 5.2K. Now, if we gotta look now, if T doesn't play, I like Monte Ellis tomorrow. If Teague and George doesn't play, or even if T doesn't play, I like Monte Ellis tomorrow. Zach Randolph at 5.1 looks like a pretty fair play. Alex Len, of course, at 5.1 is going to be in play if Tyson Chandler is out. JJ Barea, we know he's out. CJ Miles could be out again. Josh Richardson, I do not like him. Marcus Morris, no. Brandon Knight, no. Harkless, no. Thompson, no. Sean Kilpatrick, no. Wesley Matthews, I don't like him. Will Barton, I don't like him. Trey Lyles can be a decent play, especially if we know Derek Favors is not going to be playing. MKG, not tomorrow. Ryan Anderson will be shooting a lot of three-pointers. I don't like him very much. Yusuf Nurkic had an awesome game out last night. He could be pretty good against Rudy Gobert. Glenn Robinson is up to 47 points. That just took him out of consideration for me. That's too much. 4.7K is too much. Bojan at 4.6 might be a good play. They're going to have to shoot if they want to keep up with the Boston Celtics, and Bojan can fill it up. Enes Kanter, 4.6K against Sacramento. That could be a good play. That could be a good play. Nikola Jokic at 4.6 against Denver. I like him. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I like Nikola Jokic tomorrow. Nick Young at 4.4. Spencer Hawes could definitely be in play. We've got some injury news. Frank Kaminsky and Cody Zeller may be out tomorrow. If that's the case, I think you can look to Spencer Hawes going up against the San Antonio front court. Marvin Williams, no. Patrick Beverly, I like Patrick Beverly tomorrow. He's still cheap, 4.3K. He's a starter, a bona fide starter, and a good defensive player. He can get some steals and some rebounds too. He does that. Jahlil Okafor at 4.3K might be a good play. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson at 4.2. I don't like him very much. Ersan Ilyasova, JaMychal Green, J.R. Smith at 4.1. Vince Carter, 4.1. That's not a bad play. Robert Covington at 4.1. We've got Ty Lawson at 4K flat. He's going to be starting the game, I presume. Sergio Rodriguez going up against Mike Conley at 4K flat. I do not like him at all. Dante Exum at 3.9K. Now, if George Hill doesn't play, I like Dante Exum tomorrow. He's somebody who I really like. If Hill doesn't play tomorrow, David Lee at 3.8. I like him. Just the cheapies, man. Now that we've done a quick little overview of the player pricing, let us jump into the point totals on tomorrow's slate. We are going to start. We're going to start in Charlotte, where the San Antonio Spurs will be traveling to take on the Hornets. This is at the Beehive. You know how I feel at the Beehive. We've got almost a 200-point total, with San Antonio giving up 4.5 to the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets are a home dog. I like Kemba. I'm gonna just say it now. Take it how you want. I like Kemba tomorrow. I don't think that we're gonna see a lot from Nick Batum. I think we're gonna see a full allotment of minutes on the other side of the ball from Kawhi Leonard, so I definitely like him. I also like LaMarcus Aldridge in this game. If I had to roster 3 guys, it would be Aldridge, it would be Kawhi Leonard, and of course Kemba at home, because the hoes gonna show up this time. The next game we're gonna talk about is gonna be the Portland Trailblazers going to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. This is a 217-point total, one of the highest point totals of the night, with Cleveland giving up 11.5 points to the Portland Trailblazers. Now, with a point spread that big, I don't know how much I want to invest in this game, because if what Vegas is saying is right, we are going to have to hit on the guys that either make it a blowout or the guys that get love in the blowout. Love, like scrub run in the blowout. And I think on a 13-game slate, that is very hard to predict. If I had to go anywhere, I would definitely go Dame. I would definitely go Kevin Love. I think there's going to be a lot of missed shots. And I like Kyrie Irving in this game too. Now, LeBron is fairly priced, but will we see some fourth quarter LeBron? We're going to have to see LeBron in the fourth quarter in order to hit that 6x value that we look for when we look this closely at a specific player. So I don't think I'm going to be taking any of LeBron tomorrow. But I do like Kyrie Irving. I like Kevin Love. And I like, of course, I like Miles Plumlee as well in this game too. And I like Dame Lillard. The next game we're getting to is going to be the Atlanta Hawks going to Indiana to take on the Pacers. There's no point total on this game as of yet, because we know we've got some injury concerns with Paul George. We've got some injury concerns with Jeff Teague. We've also CJ Miles. I mean, if they put the injury report out, it's just to say all of them. the whole Indiana team is hurt. So we've got to, be vigilant, stick to Twitter, follow the Indiana beat writers, make sure we know what's going on with that franchise. On the Atlanta side of the ball, I love Paul Millsap tomorrow. I think he's going to be a great play, as well as Dennis Schroeder. I like him. I do not like Dwight Howard very much in this game. For some reason, when him and Millsap are on the floor, I would rather just take my chances with Millsap, because I know he's going to do more than just score or more than just rebound. He's going to do a little bit of everything. So I'd rather take a four-tool guy than, just take maybe the guaranteed double-double from Dwight Howard with no upside, because Paul Millsap can go off for 50, 60. Like, he's that good of a player, and he never sees that high salary or ownership. So I do like Paul Millsap tomorrow and Dennis Schroeder. On the Indiana side of the ball, we still got some injury news to sort through. As that opens up, we'll definitely chop it up on Twitter about that. The next game is going to be the Phoenix Suns traveling to Orlando to take on the Magic. Already said, man, you can attack Phoenix's perimeter game. As far as like Elfrid Payton, Evan Fournier, I think they're going to be really good plays tomorrow. Nick Vucevic, I like him. If Tyson Chandler doesn't play, if Tyson Chandler plays, I don't like Vucevic as much, but without him, I definitely think Vucevic can be a good play. On the Phoenix side of the ball, Eric Bledsoe's been shooting hot, man. He's been having a really good season so far. Orlando is a good perimeter defense against point guards, but I think that Bledsoe can kind of be a sneaky good play. A lot of people are not going to be on him. When they log into DraftKings, they're going to see that number one DVOA against point guards, and they're going to be like kind of scared off. But I think Bledsoe can be a good play tomorrow. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies going to Philadelphia to take on the 76ers. This is a 196-point total, with Memphis giving up 5 points to Philadelphia. I got to say, Mike Conley is going to be in my core for tomorrow. He looks like the injury concerns are pretty much done unless something news comes out. He had a great game last time out. A lot of guys say that he plays up or down to the level of the competition, but I think tomorrow he's just going to sleepwalk his way into a double-double, a 20-point double-double. I see him getting 20 points, 11 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds, a couple steals, and just having a great game at 6.9K. You cannot beat that. I like Mike Conley tomorrow. Marc Gasol is also in play in this game. We still see Joel Embiid on the 24-minute restriction. We still see I think Okafor's minute restriction has been lifted, but they don't give him enough minutes. He's not as good as Embiid, and he's just not ready yet. He's not ready to go ahead and like be a bona fide center in this league. So I think we can see a pretty decent game from Marc Gasol when Joel Embiid is not on the floor. As far as the Philadelphia perimeter, I like nobody across the Philadelphia perimeter. And usually I'm a big fan of Gerald Henderson, but we're going to see some Tony Allen defense. So I don't think that's where you want to go in 13 games. Most of them with higher point totals. There's many other places we can go if we want to look for value at the shooting guard position. The next game is going to be the Boston Celtics going to Brooklyn to take on the Nets. It's a 214.5 point total. Boston has given up 7.5 points to the Brooklyn Nets. We can definitely attack Boston in the front court. As far as rebounding, I like Trevor Booker. I also like Al Horford on the other side of the ball, because once he gets the rebound, he gets out in transition, and he turns that into assists and or points. So I like Al Horford tomorrow. I do not like Avery Bradley very much tomorrow. I don't like Avery Bradley. He's going to see a lot of Rondae Hollis Jefferson defense, a little bit of Sean Kilpatrick defense. Those guys are pretty good against shooting guards. And to make matters worse, we've got Horford back, and we've got Jay Crowder back. And what really gave Avery Bradley that price tag was the fact that he was being called on to rebound and to play a little more defense, to score a little more. And with those other guys back, I just don't see him going out having the games that he's been having to justify that 6.8K salary. So I will not be rostering Avery Bradley tomorrow or in the near future until that price comes down a little bit. I do like Isaiah Thomas in this game. If I had to pick 4 guys from this game, I would go Isaiah Thomas, I would go Al Horford, I would go Trevor Booker, and I would go Brook Lopez. The next game we're going to get into is a game that I'm not going to touch at all. I'm not going to touch this game at all. We've got Miami going to Detroit. It's a 189.5 point total, the lowest point total on the slate. Detroit is giving up 4.5 points to Miami. Whiteside is always like a great play, but for me tomorrow I will not be taking Whiteside. We're gonna need like 60 rebounds in this game in order for Whiteside to make value and for Drummond to make value. Now Drummond is cheaper. He's 7.5K. Whiteside is right around 9K. That's just too much money to invest in a game with this lower point total. And I'm not going to have anything to do with it. I'm going to be fading Whiteside tomorrow. He's probably going to go out and get a double-double, a nice 15-point double-double with 15 rebounds. And that's cool, but I'm going to take my chances elsewhere. I really don't like him no more. If I had to roster a big in this game, it would be Drummond, just because the price is so different, and he's a very similar player. He doesn't have the scoring punch that Whiteside has, but I mean, he can go out, he can grab some boards. So if I was going to go anywhere, if you forced me to go somewhere in this game, I would go Drummond over Whiteside. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Toronto Raptors going to Houston to take on the Rockets. This is one of the highest point total, I think the highest point total on the slate. It's a 217 point total, but the beautiful thing about this game is the differential. The point differential is only -3.5, and that's going in favor of the Houston Rockets. They are giving Toronto 3.5 points. Anytime that happens, that says that you can roster multiple players from this game, and it's going to be pretty safe for you to do so. I like Lowry in this game going up against Patrick Beverley, just for the simple fact. Now, Patrick Beverley is a really good defender, but just for the simple fact that Patrick Beverley is just coming back from his injury, number one, and number two, Kyle Lowry sees a lot of run with the second team. So, I mean, there's times when him and Chris Joseph are on the floor together. So I like Kyle Lowry. I think he'll get a 35, 36 minutes, and he's going to be do well and produce. This is going to be a high-scoring game. I like James Harden, even though I will not pay for that price. I want to get a piece of what James Harden can do, so that's why I'll probably be taking my chances with Clint Capella as well as Trevor Ariza in this game. Back to the Toronto side of the ball, I like Jonas Valanciunas. Clint Capella is an athletic freak, and I watch game film, and this dude bites on every play, every up fake that you throw him. He just jumps out of the gym automatically. Capella does that, like every fake. You go back and watch some game film. It doesn't matter if a person like flinches like they're gonna shit. He just jumps out of the gym, and then the guy scores. And Jonas Valanciunas is a very heady player, very smart player. I think he's going to take advantage of that tomorrow, and I see a pretty good offensive game from Jonas Valanciunas tomorrow. Of course, DeMar DeRozan is in play. Anytime you got this higher point total against the Houston Rockets who push the pace, that Mike D'Antoni offense pushes the pace. So of course, DeRozan is in play. But the only thing for me is he doesn't do anything but score. And if his shot is not falling the way it's been falling at the beginning of the season, you're not going to make value in that 8.9K. So he's good for you maybe, but I don't think I'm going to have too much exposure to DeMar DeRozan tomorrow. The next game we're going to talk about is going to be the LA Clippers going to Dallas to take on the Mavericks. Ton of injury concerns with the Dallas Mavericks. That is why there's no point total for this game. Not really excited to roster Chris Paul, even though I know he's going to be a really solid, safe play tomorrow. It's just with the blowout concerns, I'm not sure, how much I want to invest into this game. The good thing about this is if it's a blowout, I guarantee Chris Paul had a lot to do with it, whether it's him scoring himself or putting others in position to score. So the only guy that I would roster from this game would be Chris Paul on either side of the ball. I don't like the Gibson kid. I don't like Bogut may not play. So then you got, Salah Mejri might be in play because he's very cheap. Maybe I could go there if I'm looking to, pay up somewhere else. I can go a cheap center. But other than that, I don't really want to have too much to do with this the Dallas game. The next game is going to be the Denver Nuggets going to Utah taking on the Jazz. There's no point total for this as of yet as well because we know we've got concern with George Hill, the starting point guard for the Utah Jazz, as well as the power forward for the Utah Jazz. He has been out. Derek Favors has been out before this season, and he's out again. So we're not sure, how that's going to affect them going forward tomorrow. He may come back tomorrow, but if he doesn't, Trey Lyles is in play. Dante Exum is in play. I like him a lot against Moutier. He's a little bigger than Moutier. I think he can score against him. I like Dante Exum tomorrow at 3.9K. You kind of can't beat that as far as salary goes. The Denver side of the ball, I really wouldn't take a chance with rostering anyone on the Denver side of the ball against Utah because the pace is so slow. The pace is so slow for other teams, and they make it uncomfortable to play in Utah. So I don't like very much from the Denver side. If I had to roster somebody, it would be Jokic. It would be Jokic on the Denver side because he's going to see a lot of run with the second team. He's going to see Withy, and he's going to see some Trey Lyles. He won't see as much Gobert as Yusuf Nurkic will. So I do like Jokic if I had to go somewhere on the Denver big side. Rodney Hood's probably going to be really good play in this game as well. Your Wilson Chandlers and all those guys and Jamal Murray's. I'm not good. The slate is too big for me to roster those guys. I don't like any of them. The next game we're getting into is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves going to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. This is a nice point total too. It's a 210 point total with a -1 in favor of the home team. New Orleans Pelicans are giving up 1 point, and that's only because they're the home team. This is going to be a really close game if Anthony Davis plays. But there's a chance he won't. He's questionable. That definitely opens the door for Terrence Jones, opens the door for more minutes for and more leadership, ownership, scoring and assisting and rebounding like we saw last night from Tim Frazier, and definitely opens up for a bounce-back game for Drew Holiday, who didn't really have an awesome game out last time. On the Minnesota side, if Anthony Davis is out, I like Gorgui Dieng. If Anthony Davis plays, I like Gorgui Dieng. If Anthony Davis doesn't play, I like Gorgui Dieng and Karl Anthony Towns. So it's gonna be an up-paced game. Ricky Rubio's gonna be pushing the ball, although I do not like him tomorrow. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do like Wiggins a little bit tomorrow. I think Wiggins is gonna be able to play a good game tomorrow. So if I had to go anywhere in this game, on the Minnesota side, it would be Wiggins, it would be Cat, and it would be Dieng. If I had to go anywhere on the New Orleans side, it would be Tim Frazier, it would be Terrence Jones, it would be Drew Holiday. And that's all that hinges on whether Anthony Davis is going to be playing tomorrow. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the LA Lakers going to Golden State to take on the Golden State Warriors. Now, these games are always tough to pinpoint where we want to go. So if I had to go anywhere, knowing that there's a good chance that Julius Randle doesn't play, I would immediately go to the LA Lakers bigs value. I like Larry Nance. If we don't see Randle tomorrow, Larry Nance is automatically in play for me. I like Larry Nance tomorrow if we don't see Julius Randle. Now, we won't see D'Angelo Russell either. So this game is almost assuredly to be a blowout. Almost assuredly to be a blowout. That takes every Golden State Warrior off the table for me because I can't pinpoint which one is going to force the blowout. Is it going to be Durant? Is it going to be Klay Thompson? Is Klay Thompson going to score 30 in one quarter? Is Steve Curry going to set a new record for three-pointers? Is Draymond Green going to finally have the triple-double that he's been looking for this year? I don't know where to go, so I'm going to stay away from that. Only thing I would be getting out of this game is a value play from the blowout potential. Last game on the slate is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder traveling to Sacramento to take on the Kings. This is a 208-point total with the Sacramento Kings giving up 2.5 to Oklahoma City. Now, Russell Westbrook, too expensive. I will not be rostering him tomorrow. I've already stated that probably the best deal of the night when it comes to the high-priced guys is going to be Boogie for two reasons. Number one, it's Boogie. Number two, he's a late-night hammer and is going to see lower ownership because the game is so late. I like Boogie tomorrow. I also like Rudy Gay. I have not given Rudy Gay the respect that he's deserved. He should be in a lot more of my rosters. Tomorrow, Rudy, I like you. I'm going to lock you in. I like Rudy Gay tomorrow. As well as Darren Collison, he's going to be in play on the Sacramento side. We can definitely look to Enes Kanter tomorrow because he's not going to see as much of Boogie. He's going to see more Kufus or Carly Stein with the second team. So I kind of like Cantor tomorrow to kind of have a bounce back game. Depot is going to be in play for me as well tomorrow. See, when these guys are on the slate, you don't have to roster them to get a piece of what they can do. Okay, let's look. You don't always have to roster the guy to get a piece of what they can do. Now, Russell Westbrook. Now, he is at. Let's hit the focus for you. Russell Westbrook is at 12.3K, right? And just because he's at that high price point, I won't be rostering him. But we know that what he does, he assists the ball. He is a facilitator. He gets out in transition and he makes plays for his teammates. And just because he does that, that automatically puts other guys he plays with in play. That's why I would like Cantor. That's why I would like Steven Adams. That's why I would like Victor Oladipo. We look at James Harden, another point guard at 11.7K. Well, what makes him a point guard? Him specifically, the dude is averaging like 12 assists a game. Who is he throwing the ball to? Clint Capella, Trevor Ariza. We can roster guys around them. Let the other fools pay up for the studs, for the main studs on the slate. Let the other dudes pay for that. We can benefit from them by rostering guys around them. That's why I like a lot of the players that I talk about. That they're in my player pool. That's why Russell Westbrook is not in my player pool tomorrow. James Harden is not in my player pool tomorrow. I can't roster him. I can't do enough with him. They forced me into stars and scrubs lineups that don't win and that I do not like. That's not what I want. So now that we went through the point totals, this has been your DFS Jerusalem. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. It has been an honor and a privilege to be a part of the DFS Sweatshop. We are growing, we are changing, but the one thing that will not change is the family that already exists. We've got some really great things coming up in store for you. I will be getting out daily newsletters to you all, daily spreadsheets that really break down the Core 4 strategy. This is going to be privileged information that only my subscribers are going to be getting. After December 1st, we are closing the door on the free subscriptions. Anyone who enters after that are going to have to subscribe via PayPal Business or major credit card. So I'm going full time with this thing, man. I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting thus far. If you are already in here, you are in here to stay. Mark my word, that is the truth. There's going to be a lot of great things going on for the DFS Sweatshop, and I'm thanking you all. Y'all have been with me since the first 10 subs that I had. It's grown to a family of over 2,000 family members, and I owe that all to you. Word of mouth, shouting me out on Twitter, chopping it up with me every day. I really appreciate it. Thank you all. This is your DFS Jerusalem, and remember, in the DFS Sweatshop, we always keep it 300.